Oh, wait.
Okay. So topic sets was why add more cities of refuge for murder when the Moshiach comes?
Not going to be any more.
Aren't be any killing. Well, when Moshiach comes, why should we add more Ira Miklot? But we say this week's Paisha, it says, Ki yachris Hashem al dekefes hagoyim. Hashem's going to get rid of the goyim. V'yirishtem. So you should give out. You should separate three Ari Miklot. Right, so there was there was three Me'aver Ayardi.
And in a total tool, you need all the.
Exactly. So you know another three in Eretz Yisrael. So altogether you have six. Sheish Ari Miklot. And the Hayil Lo Nosham Koretzeach, anyone who murdered should run there, should go there. And the pasuk continues and says, "V'im yarchiv Hashem lekechetz b'rufa, kashenishbal avisacha." If you're gonna conquer more lands, you're gonna have more yarchivs. So then, and we give you the whole land, not just what we have today. We don't have the full lands. Whole Eretz Yisrael. We don't have Kini, and yeah, Kini, so the three,
Panic and morning busy.
exactly. The three lands, which are, when we say, is the three lands.
Lebanon, Syria, Iraq.
Okay. In Hebrew, we say Edim, Amin, and Moav. So we're going to have those three lands, right? Kinik, Knizi, Kadmei. Right? Kinik. So this is the three lands of right. These are three lands of according to some opinions, Edim, Amin, and Moav.
It's going to be Ed to it. So
yeah, Jordan and
Jordan, Lebanon, Iraq.
Right, so we don't have it yet. Mashiach's going to come soon, very soon. Mashiach's going to come. We're going to have that also. It's interesting. I just saw, this past week was the Satmid Abizert sites.
The older one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh. I was speaking also there was a contact, Anta Shabbat before with some Satmid Chavra discussing the Shitta. So the very into the Yala B'Chayma, the Shalosh Shavuos. You see that the Rebbe also talks about the Yala B'Chayma and has to use it not as halacha, but saying that it's not an Indian for us to go try to conquer more land, but whatever is necessary for security, protect us, not just Eretz Yisrael, but anywhere which is going to be important for our security. So then we hold on to. We make sure that we have. But to go and try to conquer the whole Eretz Yisrael the way it is in the Torah, that's when we're ready for Mashiach. So we do agree it's something layala l'chema to this idea. So, but the same Mashiach's going to come. It's going to be ki yachiv Hashem's brucha. So what is it? It's a mitzvah. Yisaf l'cha oid shalish ari mal shalish. Besides for the three in Eretz Yisrael proper, we're going to add another three Adam, another three in Miklat, another three cities of refuge. Right. So besides for the six, there's going to be another three. There's going to be a total of 9.
But the 6 would be not in Israel.
It's 3 in Eretz Yisrael.
Right.
3 in Yarden. And there's going to be another 3 in those new territory which we're going to conquer. We're going to also add another 3 over there also. Mashiach. How do we know the Mashiach is going to do it? That's from the Sifri. The pasuk ki yachil Hashem. So what is the ones ki yachil? So Rashi brings it. Well, the Sifri that's talking about Mashiach. Keni Knizi Bakadmeni. So then we're gonna, and that's what the Rambam passing. The Rambam says, Yimei Melech HaMashiach, the final Mashiach, Mesifim Shalosh HaChedes Al-Elo HaSheish, add another 3. And where do you have Hechem Mesifim, they say, where do you add them? Ba'ari HaKeni, HaKnizi Bakadmeni, Shenichas Avram Avinu B'Dis Salim. Right? That's what it says in the parasha. This expansion. Parasha Shofar. So the question is, all the Mepharshim ask, Shaila goes, Shaila is the Zeis Ran on Yaakov Shemaim, the Magen Avram. Everyone knows the Magen Avram is one of the main Mepharshim, one of the main commentaries on Erech Chaim in Shulchan Aruch. When you open up a Shulchan Aruch, it says that in Chaber Amav, in Erech Chaim, Chelek Erech Chaim, who's the big Ferish, is the Magen Avram. Everyone knows the Magen Avram. Magen Avram actually has also a medrash. There's a Pirush on medrash. And Yaakov Shemaim, right? Everyone heard that Yaakov Shemaim is a medrashim. So he has a Pirush called Zeis Ranam. Zeis Ranam. So he says, so he asks this question, and he references to earlier to the Arizal. The Arizal asked this question already. And other people, another famous Ferish on the Shulchan Aruch, his name is the Shach. He's on Yerideya. He has a Pirush on the Torah, Shach al Torah. Yeah, the Shalah discusses this question. There's a lot of discussion about this question. What's the question? The question is what we started off with. Why are you going to have to add more Edom Miklot when Moshiach comes? Why do you have to add? But for nobody can be killing. No, that's when Moshiach comes. You have to add more. It's enough that you have 6. You need to add another 3.
And not only that, there only be, but when everybody, all the Miklat is available, then it's koilet. You can't just have it on the soil this later on. No. Only koilet when all of it.
I don't. It's like Kabir. Say there's 3 nights. When the 3 nights Israel, then the 3 in Eva Layard work. And if you have to wait for the next. They already had it.
Right. Check on time. We'll walk again. Machine is quiet.
Question is, right, and the way that Rizal brings it, and it's brought in says that even Goyim is not going to be killing. It says, like, everyone knows, we used to Goyim Cherev, right? Yeah. Yeah, so that's the question that Rizal asked. So we just to mention the question, we'll say it over. I'll say over the question we just said. Question is that since Moshiach is going to come, we're going to add another 3 Iro Miklot, 3 cities of refuge.
Yeah.
So the question Magen Avram brings from the Arizal question. Sorry, it says that when Moshiach is going to come, it says the pasuk says L'Yisrael Goy Cherev. There's not going to be fighting. They're not going to be killing. So why do we need to add extra Iro Miklot when Moshiach comes? Why do extra cities of refuge are for people who killed souls?
I think Cherev is referring to straight to Goyim coming. But Ori Miklot are for Jews.
Right, but even Goyim are not going to be killing, for sure, Yidden are not going to be killing each other.
That I'm sure about.
Uh-huh. Okay. You're saying Yidden are going to be worse than Goyim?
Where does it say Cherev?
L'yisa Goy, the pasuk, the Navi said in Yeshaya, he said, L'yisa Goy Cherev.
You know, but where does it say Cherev about the Ori Miklot?
No, that is going to be Cherev.
Where does it say Cherev about the
Ori
Miklot here? It just says Minishal HaBarzel and things like that. It does not recall any place where it's
It's not going to be missing.
where it says anything about Cherev.
What are you saying? Explain. What do you mean?
No, the Ori Miklot
Right.
of somebody who kills B'Shogeg.
Oh, thank you. That's what I wanted to hear.
And now you can't kill somebody with the Cherev B'Shogeg.
Oh, very good. That's excellent. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. That's what he said. He said, even though
It's
the
not going to be dead. It's not going to be nobody. Right now, there's a dead because you can feel the mitzvah. Moshiach will come. He's not going to be dead anymore. That's it. Also, that's amazing. That's it.
Because amazing. Okay.
Would not be a concept of done.
Somebody made a beira, kill somebody, so later on, you pay back by he going on the ladder and this. But if everybody is complex here, and not only that, the more we don't need it.
Oh,
Very nice, very thick something. It's very tall.
where's what come up? What?
Everything open, very thick something. Why did they come in the world? You have to read the possibly understood. There's logic that you should know.
They have to tell us.
They should be able to make the fun.
Right.
They should make fun of it before he went. And that's how before they did the search.
Okay, so I'm going to bring up the very important questions, very important points. So let's start off with what you just said about shogeg. That Ir Miklot is saying, you know what, Mashiach is going to come. Not going to be anyone killing the Mazit, not going to be killing the Mazit, but they could kill the shogeg. Right? That's what you're saying. Ir Miklot is for shogeg. Even though it says whether someone killed, the medicine says whether someone killed the shogeg, whether they killed the Mazit, they go to the Ari Miklot first. First, everyone runs to Ari Miklot. And afterwards, Bezdin judges them and sees if they did it b'mezid, there were witnesses, and there was hasra, they were warned, so then they get killed. If not, if it was written with the shaking, so then they stay in their miklot. But the idea, the main idea of the Ari Miklot is for somebody who killed the shaking. So that's what you need from Moshiach comes. You need to for someone killed the shaking. So Rabbi Yirmol was saying that there's a Gemara. He's referencing a Gemara in Makkas. Gemara says that the Hashem makes it like this. That why did Hashem make that somebody killed by mistake? So what happened was, in other words, he showed. I think it was Moshiach. He showed them that somebody killed somebody else by mistake. Right, the whole story that they think was by the well. Somebody came and he left his wallet over there by the well, cash money. He left, and somebody else came and took the money, and then he left, and then somebody else came over there, and the first guy who lost it came back, and he saw him. He said, "How come you stole my wallet?" He said, "I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see any of your wallet," and he told him. And so what's going on over there? And then he said also what happens. So what happens? How come when somebody is going down a ladder and he slips and he pulls on somebody else and kills him? Why is that? Why that happened? So the Gemara explains that this person who was killed, why was he killed? Because he originally killed somebody else with mazes. He originally killed somebody else with mazes.
But why after?
But there was no Aiden.
Why I'm the one that he left?
So, but there was no Aiden. No Aiden. So he calls it. So he had this person to slip off the ladder and kill him. Because he deserved to get killed. There's no Aiden. Why does this guy slipping? Why does this guy have to be the one to slip off the ladder to kill him? It says because he actually killed somebody else. But it says b'sheged. They killed somebody else with shaking. There was no Adim, so he didn't go to Golos.
Oh,
so now there was Adim, and so now there's going to be Adim, and they're going to see him, and he's going to go to Golos.
Hashem has his calculation.
Yeah, we don't see the full picture. We don't even see anything in the picture. But so the point of it basically is the Gemara is basically saying that the person who's getting killed, why is he getting killed? Because he killed somebody else amazing. When Mashiach is going to come, nobody is killing the Mazits, right? That we agree. Nobody's killing some of the Mazits. If nobody's killing anyone with Mazit, so nobody's going to get killed by accidents. Because the guy who gets killed by accident is the guy who killed the Mazit. Since nobody's killing the Mazit, so therefore nobody can be killed by accident. And furthermore, that also the one who's killing, it doesn't make sense that there should be somebody who should be killing even by accident. Because even though it's by accident, and you could say he did it by accident, it's not his fault. He did it by accident. But but the Shalah brings, because it's brought to the Born Kabbalah, it's brought that the reason why a person does something by accident is because he has a connection to the bad of the Veda. He has some connection to it. So therefore, that's why we say it's a kala shaking sichen kapara, right? I kala shaking sichen kapara. Right, that's the anyone does the shkaga, right? You have to bring a carbon chatos. If you made a mistake, you didn't do anything wrong. Well, what's the problem? But then it's also it's kind of finally it's brought that
one of the Rashi Tevot, Inu Liyado Santila.
thank you, beautiful. Inu Liyado Santila.
So the God.
So I want to once you mentioned that, you said that one of the Rashi Tevis, the Rebbe said like 5 Rashi Tevis in Elul had to do with
Shubha.
yeah, Torah, Tefillah and Tzedakah and Tshuva and also Moshiach. 5 Rashi Tevis. So one of them is Ina Liyade Samti Lach. It's Ina, the Aleph, Liyade, this Samti Lach. Rashi Tevis.
Aleph or
Aleph. Aleph Manhe. Ina Liyade Samti Lach. Yeah. Ina is Aleph Manhe. Ina Liyade the Samti Lach. Is
Samti Lach and the Samti.
yeah. Shila Shem But so even the other Samti Lach, what is that? That's Torah. Because it says the Gemara says Divrei Torah Kilton. Divrei Torah is a refuge for the person from the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara tries to get the person. How does he save himself? He goes to learn Torah. So Mashkei L'Beis HaMedrash. You bring him to learn Torah, right? And that's how you get saved from the Yetzer Hara, from so Divrei Torah Kilton. So time of Elul, time to add in and all the things. One of the things is Torah. So like he says, he actually brings the Arizal. This is from Arizal actually. This is Rashi Tevis from Arizal. This in the other Samti Lach is the Rashi Tevis from Arizal. About Elul. And he says Arizal says like this. I'm saying the Chaim Vital brings it. Limmeis ki HaKadosh Baruch Hu bechazda ina v'zimen chedesh Elul v'chol mi shechat b'seich hashana sheyashav az b'tshuva v'kabluhu. Hashem, in Liyadi means he chanced his hands. So in Liyadi, Hashem gave us a chance. He gave us the time. He gave us this opportunity, this time of Elul for anyone who did an Aveda. It's like somebody wants to Ir Mikvat. So anyone who did a Chet during the year, that he should do Tshuva over there, and they're going to makabel him. That's how he can be saved. It's not just in Cloud, just for in of Torah, but Cloud, the whole thing in Elul is that this is the in time. Like Ir Miklat is in a place, in Makim is a place, in time, what's the Ir Miklat is saves us from this if you did a Chet. So that's you brought that up. Okay, so we're back to this discussion over here. So a person killed by mistake, it means that he has some connection, there's a connection to this. Therefore we say Shegig also needs a kapara. So since we're going to say when Moshiach is going to come, there's not going to be any bad in the world, it's not going to be bad. That's the way the Shalah asks it. Shalah asks it, the Shalah is not going to be any bad. Because the world is going to be, because the bad is going to be finished from the world, not going to be any bad. It's only going to be only good. So in Mela, there's no place that there should be an Aveda, because so both the person shouldn't be anyone being killed, because that person being killed is usually the person who kills the Mazit. It's not going to be anyone killed when the Mazit comes. And also, the person is killing. It means he has a connection to bad, and Mashiach comes, there shouldn't be any connection to bad.
So Yetzer Hara is no job.
Exactly.
That's right. They're going to shech the Yetzer Hara, it says, right? There's going to be a whole story about Levi, the Yetzer Hara, the whole story of the Gemara, right?
Big Levi.
Yeah, the whole story over there.
How many generations will come to be given?
So he says, you mentioned Abila Mavis Lanes, it's not going to be any death. They don't bring up this right to the Chesed Mason Act, because again, also it's shadowed when Chesed Mason is going to be. It's also a whole discussion. Right. But there is in the Shara Matzahs that is all the way he brings it. He says see Bila Hamavis Lanetzach. He does bring the pasuk Bila Hamavis Lanetzach. There's not going to be any death then. have a discussion. You can look. A lot of people discuss this question. Also, okay. So we're left with the question: why is there a need for the ad Adei Mikvah Mashiach comes? So there are some Mefarshim, which is actually the Magen Avraham in the second answer. He gives an answer. He says that that it's just a mitzvah to add. It's not there's no real reason for it. With the Minchas Chinuch, right? Minchas Chinuch counted one of the mitzvahs. He says, Minchas Chinuch says, it's Exeris HaKasel. Exeris HaKasel means when you don't have a reason for it, just like the Eibush said, this is supposed to do, there's no reason. That's what Minchas Chinuch says. Because he says, there's no svara. Yeah, why should when Moshiach come, there should be even Miklot? Why should they actually Miklot? He says, so the svara is no reason for it. Kirak Sholem ve'emes atayv yeh b'mei hamelach ha'makuva b'mei ha'leimenu. Exeris HaKasel last mitzvah is the kasel she is that HaKadosh. The Exeris HaKasel you have to have 9 even Miklot. Exeris HaKasel.
ויספת לך עוד 3 מקלט, אפילו.
The chiyuv, right? And he wants to say there's no reason, but the Rebbe has a hard time understanding that because the pasuk says afterwards, after it says you should add these 3, it says, it says, "Well, yishafech dam naki bekerev." Like notice it says before, but it says after the adds these 3, he says, "Well, yishafech dam naki bekerev ha'tzkah she'Hashem lekach neis lefanachlo." It says a reason. Well, yishafech dam naki bekerev ha'tzkah.
Right at the beginning of it.
Yeah. We're talking about why there's going to be, when Moshiach comes, why is there going to be this new extra cities of refuge? If someone kills by mistake, they have to run there. The question is, Moshiach's going to come. Why are we going to need that? So, some people explain that the reason why we need it is because, like he said, there's going to be different stages when Moshiach comes. The different stages. First, it's the Gemara says that I'm passing this way. He says, at least in the beginning of the Yemei Mashiach, that's the way the Rambam just writes in the Sefer Yad that he just writes this. He doesn't add more. And he said it's just talking about the beginning of the time of Mashiach. It says, he writes Machlekes in the Gemara. He says like the Gemara says, it says Ein Bein Eilam Hazeh L'Yemei Mashiach Al Shibud Machis B'Vadet. There's no difference between this world and Lamhaza and Mesa Mashiach, besides for change of who's in charge of the government. We're gonna have a new government. So Shibud Machis
not going to be in charge.
we're gonna have Malach Mashiach going to be in charge. So the Yidden are going to be ruling. That's the difference. Everyone's going to be under Malach Mashiach. The whole world. He's going to be the Melech L'Kippah.
They said that they're going to be serving the Jews. Being a servant. You'd like me to put your shoes? You put your shoes.
Kings of the servants. It's the same in a Kesayach. So the king says, the Gemara says that there was a Tana. There's a Tana that says, it says that the king, he came in front of the king. Well, I think it's Vela. He said that his gartel was a little bit was out of place, and the king came and he fixed it for him. And said that his friends told him that you as Makuyim fulfill what the pasuk says, that kings will serve you. So he fixed their clothing for you.
This Tana was Ashkenazi, the girl.
No, that used to be Sfardim on a girdle.
No, the Sfaradim wear big girdles, like a big sash. It's only the big rabbi, not the regular people that can wear.
He was a big rabbi.
Even the ordinary people, they wear a sash.
The Gemara is brought that they used to have it, but you're saying the Chachamim have it,
and it's not black. What they have is colorful. No, the Rabbanim also it's not left. We are all their country.
White, what is it, white?
No, the Rabbanim of the Sfaradim, the Seyach is not black. That's the big difference between Ashkenazim and Sfaradim, don't wear black. Only the Ashkenazim were
Okay,
black.
so maybe he was a big chacham, so maybe he was Sfardi, and no, I think it was before this whole idea of Sfardi and Ashkenazim. So he said like this. So there's not going to be a difference between now and usually. In other words, not going to be miracles in the beginning of Mashiach's times, like out of the ordinary miracles. Money's not going to go free. So, and it depends how again, we're going in a certain opinion over here, and a certain. So it depends on if Mashiach comes in a way of that we're zeicha, or if we're merited, so then it could have the miraculous time right away. But the way it can happen without any special merit, so then the beginning of time of Mashiach is going to be a natural time, and this time Mashiach is going to be ruling the world. But so the time we're going to need is so you're going to add another three plus miklot. Now you're going to conquer more of the land, and you're going to add another three miklot, and it's still going to be it's a natural time, so it's still going to be killing. So maybe that's why you're going to have miklot. Then as the Mashiach's time continues, and as it says, the Sab Adei Yisrael, people are going to become learned because they're going to have whatever they need, and people are going to start learning and being more involved in Torah and mitzvahs, and they're going to be zeicha.
The guys they had in Kibbutz.
And they're going to be zeicha. They're going to merit to even greater time, a supernatural time, a time which can be open miracles. So then they're not going to need mikvot anymore.
Then it's getting.
That's a lot of a fresh answer.
But one thing we're going to miss to sing "We Want Moshiach Now."
Very good.
We're going to miss it.
It says there's something from the Yevim. It says that when Mashiach's going to come, we're going to yearn. We're going to yitzapeh. We're going to yearn for the aveda, the work that we did, the service of Hashem that we had when we were in Galus. Everything wasn't so easy, and that was very precious.
You're in for the even higher madrigot. Not look back.
You're right, right. Where of course we're gonna, but at the same time, there's something special. Is when things are not easy. That's extra precious. That work is extra precious. You know. And we did it on our own. We weren't.
But if we say ain't being to the ship, she wouldn't know.
Right.
So that means the world continues as it was.
Right.
That there is still avodah.
Right.
There is still a yitzhara.
Right. So it's again. You're right. So they're going to be. That's why they say that the Aramaic is going to be the first time for the first period of time, and then eventually when the Yidden are going to be zeicha, because they're going to have everything they need, and be able to sit and learn and do more mitzvahs. They're going to be zeicha to even a greater time, where then there's not going to be any bad. It's going to be miraculous, and then we're not going to need the miracles. So we're talking about that time. So that's what some of Farshim say. The Shalah brings this answer, and it's possibly with one of the answers of the Magen Avraham. So it comes out. In other words, so Rebbe says like this. According to this answer, we're saying that the fact that we're adding when Mashiach comes another 3-year mikvah. Listen up. That's a proof. That's a raya. That's a proof. Of what? That everything's going to be the same. That like this opinion says everything's going to be the same. Right? That's what we're saying. That's what science is saying, right? So and maybe with that we could explain why the Rambam has interesting order. And the Rambam says about Mashiach is that you got to believe in Mashiach. He says that how do we know that there's going to be Mashiach? How do we know? And he's very strong to the Rambam. So the Rambam says not only are we don't believe in Mashiach, we're not only in the Nevi'im, the prophets, the words of the prophets. Someone doesn't believe in Mashiach is he being kafir in the words of the prophets, but he's even being kafir even in the Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu. Because even the Torah Shabbat it says it talks about Mashiach. Where does it talk about Mashiach in Torah Shem? Parshas Bilam, right? And it talks about it brings all the psukim about Bilam is said about in the book about Mashiach. And then he stops there, he finishes his halacha, he finishes his paragraph, and he starts a new halacha, and he says, and also there's another raya from the Torah, because it says that Mashiach is going to come, because it says that in Yachar Hashem is willful, and you're going to have more land, then you're going to have Ir Miklot also. We're going to add another 3-year Miklot. So he says, Ram says, we never had this yet. And Hashem wouldn't say to make this mitzvah with the Torah for no reason. So that's another ayah about Mashiach from the Torah. Ir Miklot's ayah that's the ayah that's Mashiach. Besides for Bilam, but another ayah from the Torah, which is in Nevi'im, they speak clearly about Mashiach, how much about Mashiach. But once you bring proof also from Torah Shabbat, he brings from Bilam, and then in a separate halacha, he says that where's another ayah that Mashiach, that's going to be Mashiach, because these extra 3-year miklots, which he says is going to be when we're going to conquer Yaakov, that never happened. So it must be that's going to be when Mashiach.
That's not a really a proof, because it could happen even what was
right
before Mashiach.
Right, I hear you, Shiloh.
But it's Meforash in the Chumash itself. So that's
what he first says. That's what he says. Brings from Parshas Bilam.
Huh?
That's what he says. That's the first ayah he brings. He brings from Parshas Bilam.
But that's Mamasha an absolute proof. It is Vakar called the Neshet.
He brings all those psukim, right? He does. He brings all these things. And then he adds that another halakha. He adds also the Miyarchiv. So you're saying that the Miyarchiv could happen beforehand. Okay, I hear it.
You say Shlamim. Shlamim meaning
step by step.
Oh, he wants to bring a raya. So here we ask him. He wants to bring a raya that okay, but I don't want to focus on that. I hear your question. But so he brings it, but the interesting thing over here is that he brings it as a separate halacha. This second raya that is going to be Mashiach, he brings it as a separate halacha.
Right.
So there is another sif that never talks about it, but Pashtus wife is a separate halacha. But whatever says basically that maybe this is a remez, because he brings a separate halacha because he wants to say that this that there's going to be Eir Mikla when Mashiach comes, another 3-year Mikla. There's going to be another 3-year Mikla. It's not just a raya about Mashiach, it's going to be Mashiach, but it's also a raya for the next halacha. So therefore we put it in between as a separate halacha. I want to say it's a raya for the halacha before, and a raya for the next halacha. What's the next halacha after it? That next halacha is, he says, the Rambam says, V'al yala daitcha shamelach haMashiach tzarech lasis eises hameifsim u'mechadash dvarim ba'elam. Do not think, it shouldn't come into your mind that the Malach Mashiach has to do miracles and has to do change and exchanges to the world. Right? So he says that Mashiach doesn't have to do any changes, doesn't have to do any miracles. So could be. So based on what we just said, we said that the fact that there's going to need to be Ir Mikl when Mashiach comes. Why does it have to be Ir Mikl when Mashiach comes? It's not going to be any killing. He said because it's going according to what we said, according to the opinion that says there's not going to be any change when Mashiach comes. Mashiach comes, it's all going to be the same. It's going to be natural still. But that's why we need Ir Mikl. Right? The fact that you're going to need to have an Ir Mikl when Mashiach comes, that's a proof that everything's going to be the same when Mashiach comes.
Why 3 more? Was it going to be more murder?
Why 3? Oh, because they're going to have to, because they're going to conquer more lands. The land of Kini, which is Amin, Moav, and Edom, Amin, and Moav. And since it's going to be more land, we want there should be. If someone kills in that land, they shouldn't have to run so far because there's somebody chasing us. The girl Adam, the family member is running after the killer. And if they have to run too far, maybe the girl Adam's going to catch up to him. So therefore, we need something more local. Those lands.
That's in Jordan.
Right. That's why I mentioned before. Jordan is
Jordan is very out of Menashe.
Ava, I think it's the other side, no? The
2.5 Jordan to say
that's not the Jordan, it's the other side, no?
Jordan. They went back to Jordan.
Lebanon.
No, the Ava Yarden is the other side of Israel, no? The Jordan's
After Yerushalayim, on top.
Jordan is on the east.
Jordan belongs to Israel originally. Part of Israel.
not now.
Not now. Jordan and the part of Syria and Lebanon, all that.
Jordan is the
Not that side, but
Reuven, Gad, and
No, so we're not talking about Reuven, Gad, and Manasseh.
You're not.
Fine, Bemenashe.
yes, we
No,
are.
No, Reuven, Gad, and Manasseh, Ava Yarden, there was 3 Arim Miklat we made over there.
Yeah.
So now there's going to be 9 altogether. There's the ones which they made in Ava Yarden. Right, 3 they made in Ava Yarden.
Yeah.
And then there's 3 new which they made in Eretz Yisrael. And then that's 6. That was already. This is going to be, Mashiach is going to come to another 3, which means a 9, a total of 9. Okay, I don't know exactly what I'm saying. I have to look up to where exactly these lands are, but I don't know.
In Iran, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, Pakistan, Kazakhstan, all these places.
I read it. It's pretty far. I don't think. But that's not.
Wait,
No, I don't think that's that. It's pretty.
Africa is going to be else. After Egypt, to Africa.
Well, it says Eretz Yisrael Shespasha to Chalarotzes, but I'm saying, but these 3 are specifically these 3 lands, Canaan, mainly. There's a discussion about where it is. Also, I'm saying they bring from the Sakbila Talmudus, Erech Eretz Yisrael, and look,
It's commotion. They bring the bank, and you see this.
I think it's also Maflekas about it. I don't know if it's so clear. Also, you have to know also it's not the same country lines as today, right? Obviously,
Right.
so it's you have to draw your own lines. It's not. But and I'm saying Iraq is already far from Eretz Yisrael. That's Bavel. That's Paras and yeah. Right, so there's gonna be right. There's gonna be another 9. There's gonna be 9 in total. Okay, so is this before the Taraya, before the night you could say that the how do I know that Mashiach is not going to have to do any change? Just like there's not going to be any changes in the world, also Mashiach, in order to test him, to see if he's Mashiach, the Rambam says you don't have to test him by asking him to do miracles for you, right? And the Rambam says, we know from Ben Keziba, or Ben Karpa, right? Or Kachba, however you call him, so the Rambam I think called him Ben Keziba, so he says, he's the Rabbi Kiva, and all the Chacham there, they thought he was Mashiach, and they didn't ask for any miracles from him. Right, so that's the Raya. The Rambam brings a Raya that he doesn't have to do miracles. So you could say that the halacha before, when he brought this Raya that is going to be Mashiach, Klal is going to be Mashiach. He brought a Raya in a separate halacha. He said that in fact, how do we know there's going to be Mashiach? It's the fact that there's going to be that the Torah says there's going to be another 3 Arim Miklot when they're going to conquer extra lands, and that never happened. That shows us on Mashiach. So maybe that's a Raya. That's a Naya that Mashiach doesn't have to make any change.
That's the reason Bar Kokhba, in the end of the day, they call him Bar Koziva. Kazav, shekel.
Shekel, right.
Kazav is shekel.
Right.
The mere fact that things have not been done yet does not mean that the Mashiach has to be the one to do it.
Right, I heard your question.
We can do it ourselves before Mashiach comes.
I hear.
Like even building the Beit HaMikdash.
Lamaisa, you're asking from the Chumash. I'm saying the Sifri and the Yeshalmi that actually brings says it's when Mashiach is going to come. But I'm saying you're asking if you want to say from the dry halacha, for the dry pasuk. I'm sorry, if you want to look at the pasuk, so then you could ask your question. But Lamaisa, the Rambam pasuk, the Rambam says we may Melech Mashiach Masif and Shal Shachiris. The Rambam, and this it all comes from the Sifri and from the Yeshalmi, from the Rashi. That's Lamais. Lamais is when Mashiach is going to come. But you can ask from the pasuk. What's the right from the pasuk? You could ask.
Yeah, but even the Rambam agrees that what's going to happen in the future, but nobody really knows.
That's what he still brought 2 Brakim.
Huh?
He himself, right? They don't ask what's going to be in the end because nobody knows.
But it depends what he says. Certain things we
don't
don't
know about Mashiach and everything, but.
Right, Lamaisa, these things he says, but this thing he's very clear. He says, but this thing
he's clear, but he says clearly that nobody knows. Like, let's say even building the Beit HaMikdash, we can build the Beit HaMikdash today. No, he doesn't say we cannot build it. He just says the Mashiach will build it because the Messiah was it. In his time there was no Beit HaMikdash. But if the Israeli government would allow us to build it, we could do it.
The Rambam
There's
says
no
that-
reason why we should not do it. There's no halakha that says we cannot build this third Beit HaMikdash.
Don't want to do it.
No. The Rambam says that Melech Mashiach is the one who's going to do it.
But he says, but he also says nobody knows.
Actually, one of the signs that he's Mashiach.
That's one, but not necessarily. He says he's going to bring about kibbutz koliyot, but you see, kibbutz koliyot has been happening for 100 years already.
It's Shlam, another Shlam, and another Shlam.
No, it's all going to happen. But the real kibbutz galus is going to happen after. The Mashiach's going to do all these things.
But back to the core question, what we needed that.
Where's the halacha that the third Beit HaMikdash can only be built by the Melech HaMashiach?
The Rambam says
The Rambam he doesn't have enough makor for that.
Right. The Rambam says
And-
if
and-
Mashiach lives, if the person does this, and then he dead for showing Mashiach. But a person that does one of those doesn't mean that another person. Right? That doesn't say that only Mashiach could do all of any one of those things. Rambam just said that having know for sure someone's Mashiach have already accomplished all those whatever 5 things. But that doesn't, I don't mean translate it to exclude that if someone does one of those things that it's not Mashiach, or that can't build the base of Mikdash, less than only Mashiach, and only if he does that step.
that's the way when you learn the halakha. That's the everything's meduik. It's written. The Rambam was very medayik, and the way he wrote.
Which halacha first, he's halacha second.
Yeah, the Seder, everything
is already, see, I don't want to agree.
No.
So gather all the even back characters as well. Is a step right before
After-
base of Mikdash,
after
right?
base of Mikdash.
So that's after building the. So what is
This is a good topic, guys.
right?
It's not the topic of the shit. It's not the topic of the shit tonight.
Let's say let Trump builds a base of Mikdash, and then
I just want to say something about the Rambam. Okay, we're really going off topic. And it's some area.
The only one that liked it was Mashiach.
Right, the halakha. I'm saying we could argue about it, but I just want to say that what I'm saying over the Rebbe's opinion. Like the Rebbe felt that, like he said, that the Rambam is the only one casting about Mashiach. So and felt that this is the way the Rambam says how the Seder should be. And
Okay, but God is not obligated to follow the Pesukim of Rambam. God is not obligated to follow the Pesukim of Rambam.
Of course, the Eibishter said that he gave over the title to the Bezdin Shalmata, and he says,
Rambam is just one. Somebody else would come along and pass me differently.
who? Somebody nowadays?
Yeah.
You can't you can't argue with the Rishonim.
Really, there's no reason why not.
Yes, till Mashiach comes. Till Mashiach
You need the Koadume, you need the Beatomames.
I don't know. That you have answers for. That you could say because Truma Hutzah the Tzibur. I just want to say, by the way, I wanted to say about the Rambam Shita. Even though he said about the base of Mikdash being built and Mashiach, he said it could be makriv the karbanis, even though there's no
It's me thought.
no base of Mikdash. That's another discussion. I think it's another discussion. The problem is you have to know also exactly where the Mizbeach is.
Yeah.
Right? It says when they came up to Bayis Sheni, you had to have the Nevi'im had to come and tell you.
Yeah.
Tell them where.
When I was in Eretz Israel, I was involved in this issue of the Har HaBayit. When I was in Eretz Israel, I was involved in this issue of the Har HaBayit. There are these people who do a lot of research about the Har HaBayit, where everything was, etc. And we have sources both from the Mishnah and from Yosef ben Mattatyahu that describe the midot of the Har HaBayit and the archaeological findings on the Har HaBayit. It's definitely possible to find out where certain things were.
And he says it's interesting that the Rebbe held of this, and saying this Rebbe, the Rebbe is worried about this Rambam. Okay, we're going really way off topic. We have a minute. One more. So,
Time pass. Goodbye.
Yeah, well, want to know how much off topic we could go.
yeah,
Build a something.
yeah, yeah. No, so the Rama, maybe Rabbi Greenwald remembers from his father, maybe, saying story basically that when they took the Harabayas, they had
And 6 day walk.
how did they say Harabayas via Dano?
Yeah, 6 day walk.
So
Goran was there with the chauffeur.
The Rebbe was worried about carbon Pesach, because if you're able to bring the carbon Pesach, so you try cutters if you're in the Shalayim.
Yeah, you know, people to go out for
So he told them to leave.
There were a lot of people who left Yerushalayim or Pesach because of that.
So the Rebbe told them leave out of Pesach.
There shouldn't be chiyuv, but they go.
So it should be out of But then it changed. Why don't they still do it? Because once they gave
Gave it over to
they gave it a walk or whatever they call it.
the walk.
Yeah.
Sure, Dayan gave it.
And it started giving away, and it's not anymore via Dano. So it's not like we see every time he walks on the Harabayas, there's a whole uproar and a whole. By the way, again, the Rebbe was against going on the Harabayas also. So it's something else.
Yeah, that's for a different reason.
That's something else.
It's only for Ben Gvir.
I think they're linked.
Yeah.
No, the Rebbe was worried. Besides for the. So again, obviously he's not going in the place where
Nobody knows where Bita Mikdash.
what exactly the part of it, because you're allowed to go if you want the mikveh and the prata. But up to certain place, yeah.
When you get the soil, came to the person. Some people did not want to put the paper inside.
Yeah.
I'm already touching somewhere that I might.
Right, Shaila, if the wall is part of Kilfnin, yeah. Rabbi by Likkutei also that asked them how they know about it, so putting their hands in the wall.
Said no.
So the just don't do it, right? They're careful. They don't put into the.
You touch the person and kiss it, but don't put.
I'm against that whole business altogether, superstition.
Okay. So the
It's got EAD, and not because the shoe it's you already know, like the EAD.
right. So most of the places again there are certain fringe groups like who he's following about they say you could go and because you know exactly where it is and you could go be careful about the mikveh, be proper and have the right kavanis and whatever. And everything, all different things. That's what they want to go mahalo. But most of the poskim saying through all the Haredish Olam is against it. The Rebbe has a different reason. The Rebbe adds that even talking about this issue it could be dangerous because what's going to happen is again at that time it was very shaykh in the beginning. It was very shaykh. Everyone started going up on Harabai. So it's because once you open it up, so people are going to be going into the mamish, the makkah and mikdash without any, not out of the basement. They're going to go all the way in without a mikveh, without anything. Yeah, they're going to go. It's not going to be any. It's not going to help to say don't go. Okay.
The organizations that wanted to permit going up to the Parabite, what they wanted was that the Rabbanut Harashit should have authority to define where you're allowed to go and where you're not allowed to go, and they would place guards around them to prevent people from going beyond that.
Yeah, but you know how it works.
And the majority, sometimes the majority of the Harabayit is not really the Harabayit; it's just the Tosefet orders. The original Harabayit was just a square. The current Harabayit is a big quadrilateral,
right?
Which was
right, 500 by 500, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did the Arabs know the Muslim where's Harabayit?
What do you mean?
They're inside. The mosque is inside. It's under the mosque, the Harabayit, or not?
What do you mean? The mosque is on the Harabayit.
Should Harabite?
Masna is also on a small little part. They say that some people say that's where the Kedesh Rodashim, the Evan Shia, some people say, there's different opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll back to that.
Yeah, let's get back to our discussion.
What we needed if not going to be in.
Yeah, so Lamaisa, but it sounds from the Rambam, but the Rebbe says no, it sounds from the Rambam. The Rambam, after he says that there's going to be a third Miklot, he still says, Al Yala Daitcha, do not think that there's going to have to be a change. It's mashma that the fact that there's going to be we're going to need to have a Miklot is not and it's going to be people killing is not a raya. It's not a raya that there's not going to be any change when Mashiach comes, no miraculous change when Mashiach comes. So, Lamaisa, what's the Rebbe explain? The Rebbe explains, why is it not a raya b'chachas? Why is it not a raya? Because it could be, the reason why you're going to have to add it in Miklot, it's an interesting answer, but he says, well, that because maybe the reason why you're going to have to add in Miklot is because before Mashiach came, somebody killed. Right before Mashiach came, somebody killed. There's a race from beforehand. And therefore, before Mashiach comes. And therefore, and that's why you have to add. So it could be Mashiach comes not going to be any killing at all. But their miklo are going to be for somebody killed right before Mashiach comes.
Right.
Like we said, we find it to be
So
Shema.
we need 9 of them. Somebody killed before
In those
Mashiach.
lands. And they need nearby. And actually, he says in the other, he brings. Okay, again, I don't know exactly where this line's at. He says also before, if according to those days, it says Eres Edim Amin Amayev Shagam Ifnei Bias Mashiach and Same Sham Yehudim. Is Yidden in those lands? I don't know nowadays. I don't know. Yeah.
The thing is, it says that somebody killed by mistake. Go to Amiklat. When he stayed there, Amiklat, to the going to die.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
If it's going to be no more dead, so what? The person going to stay on Amiklat all his life.
So
Happened just before Moshiach came and he killed somebody by mistake. Now, for the rest of his life, he's going to stay there.
very good.
Not the rest of his life because there's no other life. That's it.
Right. But again,
He
right.
won't answer. Moshiach won't answer. Thanks.
So there's all discussion about the Kohen Gadol, the B'chlal, saying that you need to. I don't want to get into the whole thing of Kohen Gadol, but yeah, it's a good discussion.
The ones that in the yard, they're not the Machadik that are there.
Okay.
They're in Iran right now.
So, but that question,
In Iran.
the question is like this: who's going to kill the person who has to run to the Ir Mikvos? The Goyal Adam. You have the family member, right? The question says, why is he going to kill him? Because it says, Ki yicham levavi. His heart's going to become. You're going to be mad. He has to take the kama, right? He's saying Ki yarbe derech. It's far, so therefore we need something local. So he shouldn't have to run so far because he's Ki yicham levavi. So and that's why you have to add. There should be local Ir Mikvos, so this guy shouldn't be able to catch up. When Mashiach is going to come, you're not going to have yicham levavi. People are not going to be so.
The basic would be only long term.
Right.
But the Torah didn't say lo tikun velo titor. So how Goyal Adam want to be
Right. So actually, the very interesting thing, the Sifri, not everyone holds like we're going to see in a second. Everyone holds it. The Sifri says that it's actually a mitzvah. Very interesting thing. Mitzvah biyad Goyal Adam livid. It's a mitzvah for him to live it. So if you say it's a mitzvah, so then he understands that Shaykh from Mashiach comes, which means this is a mitzvah, just like the Bezdin has to kill, so he has a mitzvah to run up the Geldam, unless he runs it into Ir Mikvah. It's interesting.
Today when we have cars, it's going to be a problem.
Cars, what?
Today when we have cars, it's
Right.
going to be a problem.
It's right. You have to make big paths. It's part of the mitzvah, by the way, to have make paths, big wide roads to run to your mikvah, to be able to have nice highways over there.
Yeah. But soon you're going to have a big race.
It's like
It's going to be dangerous with all the cars running.
Yeah. Okay.
Have to be 16 wide.
Where's
Big highway.
So you have to understand, but according to the Rambam, we have to understand. The Rambam actually says that it's not a mitzvah. The Rambam says it's a reshus. The Rambam says it's a reshus. And That doesn't matter. So again, we have the question: why would the Yachim Lavavi? Now you're going to tell me that the Rambam we just said the Rambam holds and the Shittu's holds that it's going to be natural. The Moshiach promised it's going to be natural. Ain't been Elam Hazel or Reisim Shech or Shiva Makaz. It's going to be a natural situation in the beginning of this, and so Elam Kimin Hagi Noyik. I think it's going to be. So if so, you can say, oh, maybe that's why there's going to be Yachim Lavavi. It's going to be Yishayach Abel Adam should be upset, even though it's a Rishus. But still, the Rambam says, even though he says there's not going to be, he says, well, there's not going to be like kino, like safrus, there's not going to be jealousy, there's not going to be war, there's not going to be hunger, there's not going to be the whole world's going to go on in all Hashem. People are going to be involved, So why? So it seemingly, why would the Yachim above even according to the Rambam? You have a minute now, right? Yes. Yeah. Okay, I'm over time already. 10 minutes. Keep the along there. So yeah. Stop over here, yeah? Yeah, the bracha. Finish up. The bracha is that if the Zeichet attack the Moshiach,
everybody come tomorrow night to shiur. It's going to be a yahrzeit for his father. Please, in the meeting.
Yeah. What's it, your other?
His father yahrzeit. On Wednesday night.
Work.
מחר בלילה זה היום של אבא שלו. אני כבר שידעו את זה.
אני אביא עוגות, אני אביא אוכל, נעשה פריים.
Okay.
יביא סאורדו וקייק.
הוא דוחה אותי, נכון?